Hello, welcome. My name is Tracy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Australia. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm taking part in a blog hop with the Let's Get Hopping crew. This month's theme is colouring techniques, and for my card I have gone with watercolouring. Now when I first saw this theme, I wasn't sure what way I was going to go, whether I was going to do watercolouring, Stampin' blends or watercolour pencils or any other theme. I decided to look through my stamp sets first and decide on a set and then go from there. And when I was looking through my set, I came across the Hopping Along, and I love this little hummingbird. I haven't used it a lot, and I thought I would go with this stamp set to start with. And this is what I've come up with, and I'm really happy with this card. So I'm going to bring in the supplies and I'm going to show you what I've used. So like I said, we have the Humming Along stamp set, and it is a bundle with the Hummingbird framelit. So I've used the framelit for the Hummingbird and the stamp. I've also used the stitched shape framelits, and I've used the second smallest circle framelit. Inks for this card are Pineapple Punch, Blueberry Bushel and Lemon Lime Twist. Now Lemon Lime Twist is retiring very soon, so if you don't already have this stamp pad, I highly recommend, and if you do own it and you don't own a refill, grab the refill now. The other ink is also Versamark ink, and we have used the black embossing powder and the silver embossing powder with this card as well. I have used the Watermark ink refill, and that's how I've done this background here. I've flicked the refill ink onto my card base and then hit the silver embossing paste on top and then heated that powder. And the other things I've used are the Champagne Mist shimmer paint, and what I've done is I've put that in a stamping spritzer. So I've put about that much into the bottom of the spritzer and then filled it up with alcohol, and this is really good. You can see all of it sitting down the bottom. Just before you use it, just give it a really good shake. And I don't know how well this shows up, but there is so much shimmer there. It's really pretty on that hummingbird. And the last tool I've got is the sponge dauber, and I've got the one for Pineapple Punch. Okay, so I have all my card kit here, and all the measurements and supplies can be found over my blog. There is a link to my blog in the description of this video. There's also a link to my online store where you can purchase your Stampin' Up! Supplies. If you live in Australia, I would love to be a demonstrator. I have a really great reward program called Inky Rewards. You can see that over my blog. And don't forget, if you're placing an order, please put in the hostess code and I'll send you out a free gift on top. Okay, so we have Pineapple Punch card base, which is just a piece of A4 cut in half and then scored again. We have Lemon Lime Twist card, Whisper White card, watercolour paper, which I highly recommend. Stampin' Up's watercolour paper is the best quality. It works so well. And I also have some pieces of card in Blueberry Bushel and Lemon Lime Twist again. So let's get started. I'm just going to fold and score that Pineapple Punch cardstock. Let's use a bone folder and just burnish that edge really well. One thing I did forget to say is I also have a piece of the 2018-2020 In Colour Designer Series paper, and this one's in the Blueberry Bushel, and it just measures 1/4 inch. So we don't need these couple of pieces. They're not going to be needed until the very end, so I'm going to pop them over to the side. We're going to work on the watercolour piece first off because that needs a little time to dry. So I'm going to bring in my Versamark ink, and I'm just going to ink up that beautiful hummingbird. Stamp that down. And I actually might just bring in my buddy just to make sure, because now I'm on camera it'll probably get embossing powder stuck everywhere, so let's make sure that it doesn't. Just make sure there's plenty of Versamark on that stamp. Stamp that straight down, and we're going to use the black embossing powder. So I have my black embossing powder here. And I like keeping my embossing powders just in a container. I just find I end up with less everywhere when I can do it over a container. Okay, I'm going to bring the heat tool in and I'm just going to heat that powder up. Okay, so that powder has been melted. It's all ready to go. I'm going to bring in my aqua painter and we're going to just colour that gorgeous hummingbird in. I'm starting with my pineapple punch. And I'm going to add a bit of colour on the beak. And I don't know about you, but my watercolouring always turns out different every time I go and do it. So it probably won't look exactly the same as my card. But one thing I do want to show you is I've done this hummingbird a few times. I did it quite dark, then I did quite a light one, and then I've decided on sort of an in-between to both of those. So let me know what you like the best. I'm also going to bring in just some colour into his wings and down his throat area, and lastly just down into the wings. So I'm sort of blending these colours in a little bit as well as I go. Okay, so I'm going to heat that with the heat tool and then we can move on to the next colour. The next colour we're moving on to is the Lemon Lime Twist. I'm going to place that colour in behind the pineapple punch, but I'm also going to blend slightly as well. So we're just sort of blending those colours together. I will say this is going to be quite different because I've just refilled my aqua painter, and when I did this one there wasn't much water in my aqua painter, so it didn't sort of flow the colour as much. So I don't have as much water on that time, so I'm going to bring in my blueberry bushel. I'm going to add a little bit of colour down the bottom of his wings. And you can see that's turning that blue into the green as the yellow and the lemon lime twist gets put together, which is perfect. And a little bit of blue into his face. And going down to make the green. So going to bring in some blue just in here as well. definitely wanted a bit more blue on this wing. I'm not really going to get it, so I'm just going to bring some of that colour down so it's not so contrasting there. I'm going to hit this with the heat tool and I'm going to try and add a little bit of blue into that wing. Okay, so we've dried that. Let's bring the blue in again. See if I can add a bit of blue. Yeah, I like that. That's a lot better. Okay, so I'm really happy with that colouring. I'm going to bring in just a matte that I can spray that champagne mist and alcohol in. So let's shake that up, make sure it's really well shaken. And you can see it doesn't take much to mix it all together. I'm going to just spray on top. Can you see all that shimmer in the background here? It's really, really pretty. So I'm going to put that in the sun to dry, and then we can die cut that one out. Okay, so while we have the Hummingbird drying, we're going to take our piece of Whisper White, and we're going to use the sponge dauber and the Pineapple Punch ink. And we're just going to sponge just a little bit of that background. So I'm just going to pick up some ink, take a little bit off. I want it concentrated just down the bottom and moving around. So I sort of want the concentration of colour in the middle and then sort of going lighter as it goes out. And I'm really happy with that because we are covering up a fair bit of it anyway. So I have my 1/2 inch strip and I'm just going to glue that to the edge of the Whisper White piece. So I'm actually going to bring in, I still have some of the fast fuse left, and I really like how easy this is to use. And I'm just going to place that down that side. I have a little bit of an excess bit, so I'm just going to cut that off, and that's that ready to go. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do this great little background here, and it's using the watermark ink, so the Versamark refill. And I just have a piece of plastic that I'll throw out anyway, and you need a really old brush as well because it gets really sticky. It's very hard to get the Versamark off. So I've opened it up. I'm just going to put a couple of drops down onto the plastic. So anything that you have lying around, use it that you're throwing out anyway. I'm also going to put just a little bit of water just to thin it out a little so it flicks well. And I'm just going to flick that down onto our piece. So I'm using the silver embossing powder. Let's heat that up. So we also have this Hummingbird dry now too. So let's bring in the Big Shot and we'll do some of our die cutting. Now I have the second smallest stitched circle shape, and we're going to die cut those out of the Blueberry Bushel and the Lemon Lime Twist. So we need 2 of those, and in that run through I'm going to do the Hummingbird as well. So there's a gorgeous Hummingbird. One circle, and let's put that second one through. So all our pieces are ready to go. Let's assemble this card. So I'm going to glue my Whisper White piece straight down onto the Lemon Lime Twist, and that's just that little matting piece. Centering that as best as we can. And this one we're actually going to pop up with some dimensionals, so let's grab some of those out. And I'm on my edge pieces, so let's cut some edge pieces down. I'm going to stick one on each corner and one again in the middle. I'm so sad to see Lemon Lime Twist go. I know we'll have 5 more new colours coming in, and that's really great. But I've just really enjoyed this Lemon Lime Twist. It's a nice, bright, fun card colour. Okay. I'm going to stick my 2 circles together. Let's just stick a little bit of adhesive there on that side. And I'm going to glue these straight down to the card base as well. I'm going to pop up the Hummingbird. I'll bring some more dimensionals through. And this card doesn't have a sentiment, which I really like, because you can then put whatever sentiment on there that you like. You know, it could be a birthday card, a thinking of you card, a sympathy, get well card, any meaning at all. So I'm going to stick that down like that. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed today's card. Don't forget, head over to my blog and check out the blog hop. There'll be some wonderful inspiration there that you can find using colouring techniques. If you've enjoyed today's card, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear any comments. And don't forget, I have those Inky rewards for my customers. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon. Okay, bye.